All right, all you devils out there, happy Friday. Here we are about 12:30. It's Friday the 23rd here. We'll catch up on Bitcoin. I think we take a look at the ES as well. So I got a little TDU bling on here, but it doesn't work with this mic here. So I'm going to turn that around here and go full hipster. Right now, like all the 35-year-old guys that turn it around here, I'm just as hip as I can be. Okay, so now at least I can hear. Not going to hit the mic every time. All right. Okay, so well, this is pretty. I mean, it's kind of a long wait to get some resolution out of this. With regards to the Elliott count, well, I don't think we can still. It's still a bit of a guess. Is it 1 2 1 2 or 1 2? Well, this, the one thing to use, obviously, I've got it highlighted here that is just striking. Well, I say that. It shouldn't be, right? This shouldn't be even the tiniest bit surprising that we'd have a perfect measured move here. Look at goes a tick or two through just to clear the target. And I'm just pulling from this pivot here down to the low. Golden zone, target. Oh, I know. I show it a lot. All right, thank you, David Halsey, for introducing us all to that. Okay, so we can take this off. Now, this is, I think we can all agree here. This is a triangle, so you kind of, since we're impulsive here, it's a bit of a working backwards. Okay, well this sure looks like a 3. Right, it's a lot of slop chop in there, but it sure looks like a 3. So you're kind of going with here the broader strokes here. Well, if that's a 3, we got to, and this is a triangle, you're kind of forced into this. There's not much else you could do with it. It does look like we finished with a nice 5 here, so A, B, C. Well, yep, 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3. Yeah, it works. Okay. Well, now, and again, not to be like retardedly redundant here, but we've looked at this multiple times, right? If this is, and you could count it either way. If this is 1 2, okay, it's not like this is going to disrupt the next trade opportunity. Or if you took longs here, as I was kind of suggesting, right? Again, we're not financial advice, just, hey, boy, if we come down here in this zone, that would be an area to start nibbling. I don't know. What have I said that last 5? When did we do this? April 23rd. Plenty of time to be ready for it, right? I mean, it's like, oh my God, we aren't actually going to wick that and then go, are we? Well, so you look at that and you think, oh God, well, likely there could have been stops here. Well, okay, let's zoom in here. Right? So just, we're back to, okay, basics, right? Just absolute basics of how the market moves, right? So we see this imbalance here. That's quickly corrected, retrade, and I think I probably showed this on a live stream. Right, then we come right down here. No, we don't quite, I've got that right. We don't quite get golden zone here, but we go straight to third target. Run the stops, grab the liquidity, pop, up we go, right? Now, as they say, right, if you can't identify the liquidity, guess who's going to be the liquidity? All right, so is it 1 2 1 2? I mean, the alternative is that we go from here. Right, well now, so if it's 1 2, right, which is very clean, we've got a perfect golden zone here, which I've showed Donald. Right, again, right, just as we saw it here, right, it is the, how could you bring up a chart and not check that first thing? It's astonishing to me. Note here, we go from the golden zone here, we get second target here. Here's the negative 618, that's your second target. Pop it, and then we get another one here. Non-stop, right? It's the only algo that you really need to watch for, right? Because it's the only one we can really identify and with conviction know what's happening, right? It leaves this beautiful footprint. Okay, so how would that affect the next decision here? Well, now I'm going to say this here, and many people are going to disagree with me, but I would propose to you, regardless of what's here, right, of the fact that this is an impulse, this is maybe that would be a very high-risk place to long the market. But I absolutely guarantee you people are longing there, guarantee it. So why? Why do I say that? Well, do you think there was some liquidity here? You think there were some stops here? Stops here from some of the shorts that took this? I'll let you come to your own conclusion there. And again, whenever I say that, I'm not saying, well, it couldn't, Jesus Christ, it couldn't possibly just rip here. I'm never what I'm saying, right? You couldn't, well, you could pay me, but you'd have to pay me a lot to buy there, right? Because you're just handing it. It's just what a rookie would do, right? It's eventually, right? You're gonna learn that it's not that this might not fly. It's just that's a very high risk to enter the market. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm back. All right, so, well, as we look here with our Elliott hats on, 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, then this would be the one of the three relative to this being the one, right? So if this is the one here, right? Well, we're going to have to get a 3 here. Well, we're going to need a 1 of that 3. So if it's 1, 2, 1, 2, I mean, well, this could be, we could have some high class problems here. If it's really going to run here, which we don't know, right? There's plenty of resistance up here, but this could be the one of the three that really. If this is all 1, 2, and this is just the 1, right? That's likely not big enough for where the potential is that this may be going. So if it's 1, 2, my guesstimate would be that would be the one of the 3. But that would be a high class problem for any bull. We'll deal with that when we get there. Now, before we start jumping for joy here. Okay, right. So, bull markets climb a wall of worry. Okay, well, we have to be mindful of where we're going to hit some resistance. So on the one hand, as you sit here looking at it, well, if you didn't nibble it down here after I mentioned it to you for 3 straight months, if you didn't do that, well, okay, not fret, right? Okay, so you missed. Well, what did we get here? 5-6 grand move. Well, you missed that, but don't. Here's what you don't want to do. Don't FOMO in and buy it now. That's the last thing you want to do. Now you got to wait. Well, you can think of it a couple of different ways. We've had a 5, so you're going to wait for the 3. The other thing to consider, which we'll get to in a second, this is a break of structure. After a break of structure, we can anticipate a retrace at that time frame. So you've got 2 technical approaches here that they have so much in common here. There's a lot to suggest. Okay, so this is good sign for bulls, but right now all we can really say is we're sweeping the liquidity. All the stops have been grabbed here, right? They're continuing to grab. I'm not saying this couldn't go. That's never what I'm saying. I'm just saying in terms of risk reward, that's not how would you even do it, right? Where's your stop? Down here? Okay, but let me go back. Let me go to an 8 here and let's get some perspective. By the way, has anybody else for some reason I've lost the auto feature, auto reset? I don't know if they updated something. I'll be damned. They got a new thing up here. I got a new quick search here, but I've lost my auto, which is kind of weird. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't know why I've lost that, but I have. Okay, so I got to do it this way, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Okay, so if we're looking here, okay, so we've been through the countdown so many times. I'm not even going to do it here. Well, if you're looking at this, okay, so if we were just looking here at the 8 hour here, and you were just going to say, okay, well, where are we likely to hit some resistance? Well, let's pull it over. Wouldn't that be your first thought? Well, you could do the whole damn thing, right? This little consolidation right here. For example, if we did this, right? Never get them on the first click, right? So if we did, let's just do that right there, right? So we're going to have a high volume node here, not as big down here because we spent so much more time down here, but you see the volume cluster here. Kind of silly, right? But obviously that'd be there, but just sometimes helps to visualize it, right? So we pause right here. Okay, so we're dealing with that. Well, what would be the next thing you would do, right? Just in terms of, okay, let's identify where the resistance is. Well, we can see there's a lot of imbalance right here as we came down here. So all of this imbalance here, market doesn't like to leave that unfilled. So that's likely to get filled, right? So that's encouraging for this count. Well, we can look at the next dominant pivot here. We got our all-time high, and then we've got this pivot right here. So wouldn't that, just not being crazy technical here, just like, okay, well, that would make sense. Let's check that. All right, let's get that right on it. Well, so there's 2 ways to look at that. Okay, swing retrace. We've just tagged the 50. The other way to look at that is like, well, here's the strong high. Here's the low. Here's premium and discount, right? So we've just entered the premium zone, right? So if you were looking to be a seller, God knows I've got plenty of people that comment on my stuff every week, like, oh God, you're such an idiot. Bulls, right, are going to burn. It's going to 12. It's going to 5. It's going to 0. Surprisingly, I get those a lot. Okay, well, if you were looking to be a seller, Mr. Bear, well, you just entered the premium zone. Well, you can sell it at a premium. So, I mean, I wouldn't sell it there, right? I mean, again, that's never what I'm saying. If we've completed the 5, oh, well, let's sell it. There probably will be a short there, but that would be very aggressive. And why? Why go counter trend, right? Why not let the 3 play and then look to be a buyer? I mean, that's my suggestion. I guess I get the Vegas wave on here. That's fine. Okay, so looking up here, here, I'm going to hide it for a second just to free up some space. That's why I use the God MA, just to free up the chart real estate. Okay, we're at the 50. So before you plow into a long, okay, we just swept the liquidity there. We just banged a 50, which we know we don't have to wonder about it. We don't, wonder why it's running into some resistance there. We know why. Plus there's supply. Plus you got you come down a pivot. Now that's a secondary pivot, but it looks like they used it, right? So I wouldn't ignore it. Oh, right, that's a 50. Wouldn't ignore it, right? The algo used it, so keep that in mind. I'd go back here. Well, then you got to go back, right? So where do we, right? Ultimately, that's where we need to get. So if this is 1, 2, so the reason I do that is so you get some perspective, right? So if this is the 1, 2, okay, let's just go, based on what we can draw here. If we're going to do all of this, well, we still have a monster to get through, right? That's the biggie up here. Now, okay, right? So you had the opportunity to buy it down here at 24. This would be another doubling of your money up here at 50. There's going to be resistance all the way up here, right? I mean, you can just draw there'll be liquidity there. There'll be, you can do it like that. Oh, of course, we can refine that down a bit more, but there's likely supply there. There's going to be liquidity on the other side, and here, and here, and here. Plenty of liquidity to grab there, so be careful of that. But if we're coming down for the 2, okay, if you want to be a cowboy, okay, trade the C of the. If this is a 1, trade the C of the 2, and then you can get into the 3. All right, for our purple belts, that's all we let them trade, C's and 3s, right? Just so they focus on that. Those are your money balls, money waves. That's where you want to play. Okay, so we don't know this is done. It actually looks like it could have a little more to go, but we do know here. We see. Look right there. That's actually a good example. All right, so if you bought it here and you start to see this come down, I mean, that's more than you think. What do we got there? We've gone down, $750 here, right? So are you a little nervous there? Maybe you're like, oh shit, man, I knew I shouldn't have, right? So you make irrational decisions. That's the problem with that. Well, one of the problems, right? It's just I'll just say that it's just a high risk place to buy. But if we go down here, like, okay, do we have a 1, 2? That would be the impulse. Maybe there's a little 3, 4. Maybe there's another kick there. That's not what I'm saying, that there couldn't be more legs in that. 1, 2, certainly could be more in that. We'll come back here. Boy, beautiful internal structure. 1, 2, 3. There's the 4, 5. A, B, C into the 4. 1, 2. Maybe some more in that. But if you're, I would seriously encourage you to be careful about buying up there. Okay, let me have said made my point there. Right? If you do it, it's on you. Okay, so as we sit now looking at this, okay, well, there's a little bit of a hurry up and wait. Often you'll hear me say things like, okay, well, if you're not comfortable down here buying it, wait for the first 5. Well, all right, well, this would have been tricky because you'd have been down here waiting for it, right? So likely you missed that. So here's the completed 5. So you're waiting for a pivot up there. We don't know if we've got it. How are we going to know? How are we going to know when we get the pivot? Well, you'd look for a change of character right now. Higher high, higher low, higher low. right? Where would we break that? Well, we could certainly use the prior 4, right? And I'm being this, we can refine this even more, right? We can use that, right? So if we come down here and we get something like this started, okay. Well, now we can confirm that pivot. Now there's an A, there's a B, there's a C, right? Now we can start to look to be a buyer. Again, it's not that complicated. Oh, look here, we're right into some structure. It's not that complicated, really. I mean, we can make it more complicated, but you can also keep it relatively simple. Oh, here, 1, 2, or actually, if you're thinking about an Elliott, well, here the Elliott oscillator is kind of helping you. 1, 2, 3, 4 divergence, maybe. You'd have to go down to a smaller time frame to see that. Well, let's do it. Let's try 30, just out of curiosity. Okay. All right, does that help you? I mean, this is how, oh boy, when I was first learning Elliott Wave, right, this was foundational to knowing where are we? What, is that the 3? Is this the 5 of the 3? We have that divergence. Here's the 4, now we're here to the 5. Oh, I got divergence. Here, look at the RSI, right? That all supports the idea, like, again, it's not that we can't stay up here, but terrible place to buy it. Not because you might not make money, but because you'll develop a habit that's only going to end in your complete collapse of your account. If you keep doing that, maybe not this time. You're going to get away with it. Maybe you get away with it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. I don't know how many times, but all I know is if you keep doing that, it's just a matter of time before you go, bam, I'm going to have to reload that account. Okay, so that's been said. Here we go. Okay, so ABC, wait for something, some little pivot. Let's, again, higher high, higher low. Let's wait for a change of that. Let's wait for a lower low, lower high. And then we get down here, right? Okay, right. Can we find the right spot? Again, we have all this imbalance here, or we just move so fast, right? So maybe something like that gives you an opportunity to get long. Now, if we're at there, what would you do next, right? It should be just like, oh, I don't even hesitate. Oh, next thing, let's get some geometry on it. Oh, get that thing out of here. Let's get some geometry on. Oh, corner pocket. Oh, now maybe it's going deeper. Maybe it's a 2. Maybe we'll get a golden corner. Maybe. All right. Don't ignore the 50. Right. We love the golden zone just because the risk reward is so good. But plenty of times where we pivot at the 50. Okay. Let's go back to that 4. 2, 3, 4. Right. These are the biggies. Right. That's the pull from the top. Oh, what else do we have in here? Well, we have a golden right here. Pardon me. Not a golden, but it's a corner right here because we know this is a 50. Now, there's 2 ways to draw it. Here to here. Right. What do we know? We know that as long as this pivot holds right here, as long as we hold here, we got 80% odds of getting there. Pretty good odds for a trader. Get right on that, right? So we know that. Not there yet. I mean, that could be just what it takes to get up here and get to to ping the median line. But you've got another way you could draw this, right? Which we could do it here. I suppose we do it here. Then you've already hit, but I'd bring it back this way. Right? If this is 1, oh shit, hang on. I get it right on there. If it's 1, 2, well, we know this was golden from the 2. Right? Golden corner, right? Got its target here. We got the median line immediately, which is why I'm drawing it from here. But as we come back to the median line, interesting. But that's why, since the 80% is burned here, that's why I do it here. Because we have unrealized 80%. Right here. And it's a corner. Not a golden, but we have a corner pocket, right? So that boy, wouldn't that just be ideal, right? But this is not the place to buy it. Oh, it's going to make the median line, so I'm going to buy it there. I would not encourage you to do that. You're going to have to be patient here. I see that this is the trade-off you made when you're too afraid to buy it here. Sorry to put it in that language, but yeah, you certainly had plenty of opportunity and a very reasonable risk reward, but you pussied out. Okay, so now you're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to let it get there, and you're going to wait for the change of character, all that. Okay, well, now you can't you got to take some risk, man. Like, I'm back to the boxing analogy. You got to take some risk, right? If you get step in the ring, you're going to get hit. You can't be afraid of getting stopped out, right? So if you didn't buy it here, that's why you didn't buy it, because you were afraid to get stopped out. Period, right? I mean, it literally was in your lap. Like, oh, God, boy, that would be a great place. Boy, I could sure see how it would support it there. And then is it just coincidence that we get some fundamental news that sparks off of? Is it? Interesting, right? You make your own decisions there. Okay, so I think that's all we can say here about Bitcoin. 5 is going in. We're looking for a tag of that median line. We're going to wait for the 3 to retrace it. And then we go again. Now, as I said before, it just is this one here. If you get this and we get our A, B, C, and we go down here, you don't have to buy it right here. If you're uncomfortable like this one, you say, okay, I'll take the first little retrace, right? Right, now we're into the one of the 3. If this is the 1, this will be the 1 of the 3, right? Just the whole process starts all over again. It's funny how that works, right? So, okay, that's about all I got for Bitcoin. I hope you bought it here. I mean, again, a lot of Fridays of me going, well, okay, well, maybe we'll get an opportunity here between the 50 and the golden zone. If you didn't buy that, that's on you. All right, let's go to the ES, because this actually is a tricky one. Very tricky count here. I've had to adjust it here. I think any of you that caught the live stream here, someone had posted the ES, and we kind of had to work through this. It's very tempting to call this a 5, but I can't. I'm enough of an Elliottian to where I won't let that slide, right? So even though it's tempting to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? A, B, C. You can't make this work as a leading diag because 5 is shorter than 3, right? So it doesn't quite work. So what are your alternates if you're going to accommodate that rule set? Well, you got to work backwards. Okay, well, can I make this? Looks like a pretty good zigzag. Okay, got a 3 here. Yeah, it's a retrofit, a little Elliott shelf here, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 was there, right? But you can get this into an ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It flies, right? It works. This gets a little. Is this A, B? Expand the B into the C. You get this absolute cluster here. There is no count here. There's nothing you can. There is no count there, right? It's not. Again, Elliott is not perfect. You're not going to be able to subdivide down if you go down to the 32nd and get some sort of a 1 there. You're not. It's just a consolidation box. Okay, but we can use it, right? Because we know a lot of business was done here. Okay, no, what are we doing? We're going up, we're going down. We get a little consolidation box. Well, we come back down and tap it. Swing, retrace, right? That's all the market is able to do. Retrace, right? We're either going internal or external, one or the other, right? So tap, right? A reasonable place to be thinking, boy, would be a reasonable place to see it hold, right? Now, you don't know that. I know it's easy in hindsight, right? You're thinking, oh, it's going to come down lower, right? What would you be thinking here, right? You wouldn't know, right? You'd probably pull it this way, right? Because you'd be thinking, well, the algo doesn't care about it, right? Well, I'm going to tell you, if you're not sure, algo doesn't care about an expanded B wave. It's just going to go swing low to swing high. 50, stall. Now, look, 50 to the tick. So we came back here where all this business was done, push off, and then we come back to it. And we launch from there. Okay, so this is interesting. Again, climbing a wall of worry. Now, this gets really, this absolutely 5 Elliottian is going to give you 5 different counts in here. As I see it, I think we've got to do it this way. And again, I'm kind of working with broad swing structure here. This could be either, right? Again, I think if you go 1, A, B, C, you get a cleaner count. So 1, 2, we're looking for 3 here, median line, right? Now we just tagged it here. We're maybe back to the median line, 4, 5, right? That gets us out of here. That's what I'm anticipating here. Now, so we're coming off of this pivot here. Well, you'll note we just got our 80% here. You'll recall that this was a 50. I mean, I show these to you for a reason. Not to just be like, oh, look at the chart magic. Oh, well, what a neat trick. No, I show these to you so that you start to pay attention to these, because this is tick to tick. This is 50 to the tick, median line to the tick. You think that's coincidental? Really? All right. Okay, maybe so. Maybe I've just got it all wrong. 1, 2, golden corner, clears the, so we clear the first target. We got second target up here, but it's the 80%, right? We just miss it here. See, this would have been so easy to think, oh, fuck, man, oh, that, well, I must have it wrong, right? Because you'd think, oh, it's going to get it. Doesn't get it. Right now, oh, maybe, boom. And trading principle number 3, very high probability we'll pivot on the median line. If we, pardon me, trading principle number 2. If we are not going to pivot there, we'll snake around it while the market decides lower parallel, upper parallel. Right now, this sure looks like we're going to ping down for the 4, right? Which is what, if you're sitting here going, hey, 1, 2, 1, 2. I know that gets a little hard to see in there. Maybe try a 2-hour here, see if you can see that a little better. Really, really got wacky in here. And this is, oh, I should probably take this off here while we're not talking swing structure. We'll come back to that. Okay, so A, B, C. Looks to me like you got to go into it's such a clusterfuck. You got to go leading diag into a 2. You barely can squeak a 3 out here. It's tempting to put the 4 over here, but we overlap the 1 twice. So even with a 1 tick overlap, you do it twice. We can't let that slide. So you're going to kind of have to stick with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to give you the 1 that failed to make the median line. Interesting, right? The 1 fails to get there. Yes, I have checked this. This is about as tight as you could possibly get it. That is super tight, right? It just barely clears by a tick. Well, you know, we don't have to check multiple exchanges here. So from the low here, we just barely clear the 100. So you can call that a 3, 4. You got to work with this as your 4, ABC into your 4, and then some sort of a little diag to give you your 5 here, so we avoid the overlap of the 1. But then that leads you into this just absolute shit. Who knows in here, right? So you do your best. What do we see in here? Well, what we can say, we go kind of into a consolidation all in here. I mean, again, you really want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you can't do it. And then this section here is absolutely this. Well, here's a clear triangle, right? There's a 3. We got to deal with that, right? We got to account for it somewhere, right? You got your Elliott hat on. You got to deal with that somehow. Okay, well, best I could come up with here, and you know, I'm never here claiming my count is the right count. It's a count. Okay, 1, A, B, C, W. A, triangle B, C to give you an X, and then you got to do A, B, C, and it's not. Is it pretty? No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not what you'd hope for. But does it fly? Is it legit? Well, it's legit enough for me. Right? I'll probably get a few comments saying, "Oh, well, it can't be." Well, right. If you've got a better count, I'd be curious to see it, because it's very difficult to get a clean count on this. Right. Mainly because of this. Right. You get you can't dig a diag out of there. That's a 3 all day. So you're stuck with that 3. So you got to account for it. So you got to work backwards. And I think that's about as close as. Well, like I said, if you've got something better, post it underneath, right? Just give me an image. I'd be curious to see it. So 1, 2. Now I get an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Perfect little ABC. This is I do it this way. ABC. 1 ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the kicker's in the 5th, right? I get an extension in the 5th. Not uncommon. Bang the median line into my 5. Here's a candidate for the 4. All right, well, if this is the 2, if correctly identified, well, where's the high probability location for a 4? Look at the God MA, right? The 200 SMA EMA average coming in right there. Right, this is already hit. So we come down here, anywhere in this zone here, be of interest. 3, 4, right? That's very tradable, right? Into the 4 to the 5. So this is a trade setting up, right? You might want to take that in options. Oh, there's so many different ways to trade that, but I mean, you could be directional about this going into next week, right? That's one right there. I mean, that's if you kept from that would be a big. I'm on a 2-hour here. That would be a monster trade if you catch that. I'll be looking for that, but I probably do it in options. Well, what else do we have here? I think we've got. I'd probably keep this one short and sweet, which is rare for me. Let's go back to a 4 here and get the bigger picture. So this is the next. Well, here again, we're just going through obvious. Again, right? Do you think there's some liquidity there? Yeah, right. Potentially some supply. Yeah, I just drew that one over. Here again, you got. Well, this would be the inducement, right? So the, you know, one of the lines of thought in market structure here is that this would be, there's liquidity here, so this is used to grab this liquidity to come up to the extreme, and then you got yet another extreme up here is the all-time high. But these would be, so you can understand, okay, we get the reaction there, so, you know, perhaps you've got a little bit of a smart money trap here, and then we push back up here, we get the median line again. Now this, unless we come to the 50, you don't know that that's an algo, although there might be a pivot in there. There might be something like that in there. So you'd have an algo target here working with off of a secondary pivot, but you've got supply here, and then you got supply up at the top, right? And additionally, we have liquidity in every pivot, right? Just like there was here, it came up to it, we couldn't get there, and then we shot through when we started the week. So here's the all-time high. We're well through any resistance here. We're well through it, right? Broke it, just like it. I mean, it's got to happen, right? So here, well, this one we came here and got it here. Now here we come to the absolute low. We stalled there. Then we opened the week. We were in the middle of it, plowed through. So there's no. Well, we got the 786 up here. Few more hot spots, and then we're off to challenge the all-time high, right? Seems like that's a reasonable target here. So how are we going to get there? I'd be surprised if we got there without another retrace, which would be good news for those of you that are bullish. And we get there that way. Again, ton of liquidity up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It draws pretty well, actually. So if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, pretty good looking impulse. Got the right look, right? That's what we're after, right? The right look, right? Do we have it in here? Definitely not, right? But if we get the broader swing structure plays out, looks pretty good. All right, let's wrap the Elliott piece up here, and we'll come back at these with just market structure. Okay, so I think that should give you a okay, right? If you're an S&P or maybe you're trading the SPY or the SPX, I mean, plenty of ways you can get a directional bias here to trade that. SPY, SPX, lots of ways you can do it without having to take on all the risk of trading in the futures market, which is what we have here. Looking at the futures. Okay, let me come back to Bitcoin real quick here. So if this is like, well, shit, is it 1, 2, 1, 2, right? It's kind of tricky. Well, let's just go straight market structure, see if we can make some more sense of it. Well, okay, so here again, we looked at this for a long time, right? We came right into this demand zone. That, I mean, on a daily, it was shocking here. So it stood out so much, it was just ridiculous, right? So if we look in here and you go, geez, if you ever have trouble spotting an order block, or let's say differently, a demand zone, boy, that little down candle here, but that. How can we have some conviction in this as a demand zone here? Well, look what came off of it, right? Look what came off of that. Well, the first thing that we can spot right out of the chute, gosh, never the first click, right? Nice fair value gap here. So we have imbalance. Market does not like to leave that imbalance unfilled, right? So it comes back here, fills it all up. And then what are we doing here? We tap into the demand zone just to cut, excuse me, just a couple of wicks that go through. Now, this is a daily. But can you see what's happening? Do you see those little, I mean, the wicks, like the tweezers, kind of make it obvious. Oh, just kind of like these tweezers, and these tweezers, and these tweezers, right? Now here, that's almost looks like a head and shoulders, right? Tweezers, right? You see the stop runs. You see them, right? Now, I know after the fact, right? It stands out. So you go, oh, I see what happens here. So now look here, right? Do you see what we get here? You get another one right here, right? But now it's supply and demand zones fail, right? It's not like, oh shit, well, it's certainly not going to break that. Never what we're saying, right? But you can see here, boy, because doesn't it look a lot like this one here? Oh, what came off of it? Massive, impulsive displacement, right? We call it, you want to use SMC language? Who are we displacing? bears. They are getting displaced, right? So we know there's demand here because it led to, and not only that, now we don't have a close, you know, this is a daily bar. We'd have to close above this pivot to call it a break of structure. Right now, that's just wick, right? So for a break of structure, we want to see a candle close above. Then we know we have another break of structure. Now, so this is where Elliott and market structure play so nicely. Come here. If we do get a close here today, next week, whenever, right? If we get a close here above this pivot and we know we have a break of structure, what do we anticipate after the break of structure, right? Starts the retrace, right? Now, said differently, if this is right, 9, no, right? So you're starting to see, right, 1, what are we expecting after the impulsive 1, right? Because we just went through it. We know it's a 5. What are we expecting after a 5? A 3, right? 4, 5, right? I'm just throwing these up here because I got to put them somewhere. Okay, right? So if we're thinking of this, it was just, again, I'm just little market structure, and we just did this, right? Same concept, right? Oh, well, that would be the change of character that would tell you. I mean, you might get one, you know, much higher because, Jesus, you might get something up here because I'm on a daily, right? But just something to say, oh, okay, well, something, because remember, if it's going to be an ABC, likely going to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in it. Right, so here's your, you know, you start to do something like this. Oh, all of a sudden I get lower high, lower low, right? Which looks like a 5, 3, 5 into a zigzag, right? Swing, retrace, right? Here's the imbalance. The market doesn't like to leave, right? Do you see how they just complement each other so perfectly, right? I mean, that's the foundation. After a lot of back and forth with it, that's the whole foundation of the next course that I'm working on right now, because people. A lot of traders in this generation of traders, right? So let's call the up and coming traders, what, 25 to 45, right? Even in that range. The Elliott is not where they want to go. Right? It's not where they want to go, right? We see it, right? And we see it, right? What do they like? Keep it simple. And simple is good, right? Market structure it's not that it's easy. It's not, right? There's a lot of nuance to it, but it's easier to understand. And you don't have 26 corrections to memorize. Right, so I've been talking about this a lot last couple of videos and live streams, right? If if you're drawn to it, right? So some people are like, oh, 26 corrections I get to memorize. People that are good at puzzle solving, they love that kind of stuff. They're like, oh my God, right? Only 26? Oh, I was kind of hoping for more. You got to be drawn to that. Can I solve the puzzle with these pieces, right? I use this analogy in the live stream. It's like we're going to throw down a bunch of a jigsaw puzzle. Here are the pieces. Okay, can you make magic? Or said differently, can you make money with these pieces? You can only use these pieces, and there are rules and guidelines. Can you turn this into something that looks like money? Some people are drawn to it. Some people go, oh, come on, man. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Right? But they play together pretty nicely. Okay, so let's put this back here, and we'll get our SMC here. This is our labs who we work with, right? We like them, although they're not the only game in town. There's actually another one I'm looking at that's kind of interesting, right? But these guys do a nice job. Lot of benefit to it. So as I've said many times, if you study market structure, you could label all this stuff yourself. I mean, I was essentially just doing it. You could label it yourself. This is kind of a good when you're learning. You're like, oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Is this a break of structure or is this a break of structure? Well, that's an internal break of structure. Wait a second. Is that a change of character? Well, that's an internal change of character. That's a break of structure. No, that's an internal, right? There's complexity to it. It's much like the fractal nature of Elliott waves, right? Waves within waves within waves. Well, this is breaks of structure and changes of character within uptrend, downtrend. It's essentially they are so closely related. It's just a question of what's your interest. What's the maximum combo for a technician? Know both, right? Which is what we're gonna challenge you with in the brown belt, right? Can you do both? Right? Develop your Elliott chops. Understand the fib relationships. Understand how that algo dominates every market. I mean every market. Put some geometry in. Start to use your median lines, market structure. When the Elliott is unclear, I mean, think of it. Oh, fuck, where are we here? Okay. Do you need to be a master Elliottician there? Do we really fucking care what's in there, right? It's lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, right? It's a correction. It's a beautiful channel, right? Do I need to label it to trade it? No. Right? When we break that, boy, it sure looks promising. Just like, oh, here, let's do it this way, right? When we broke through this, right? Oh, do I need to label that? There's value in it. And certainly there are times where you're going to drive more value than someone who doesn't know their Elliott's, doesn't have any Elliott skills. You're going to get an advantage, right? I always say it's an unfair advantage when it's there and it's clear. Now, are we at an advantage or a disadvantage here in that we can't be definitive about the labeling? Is it 1, 2, 1, 2 or 1, 2? Does it matter? Well, not if you're a bull. Supply, right? Well, you can see, actually, take note here. This is worth noting here. Do you see we had another one right here that's now faded, right? Because it's already been mitigated, right? That's been tapped, retrace, come back here. Now this will fade if we get a close above. Right now we don't have a close above, and then we have this again potentially supply or equilibrium. Think of it that way. Because as I said, right, if you're trading market structure, one of the first things we want to identify is where is the premium, where is the discount? Well, that's at the 50%, right? We're right here. We're going into the premium. This is all the discount. So, I mean, you could keep it drop dead simple and say anything down here, right, you're buying at a discount. Anything up here, you're selling at a premium. What do we want to do in trading? Buy at a discount, sell at a premium. I know, it seems silly, right? I don't mean to make it like, oh, well, this is going to be easy, right? As I will tell you, right? Trading is the hardest easy money you'll ever make. All right, so looks pretty good here. But what do we want to see here? Ultimately, if this is going to keep going, right? If it's going to keep going, we'd want to see it come back down here and test the structure, right? Test it. Right, look at the edge of look at the edge of the volume profile here. Now up here, not a lot there because it's been a while since we did any business there. All the business has been done down here. Duh. Come back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unless you're an uber bear, I'm going to guess that's kind of what you're hoping for, right? Unless you're one of those people who like to tell me that Bitcoin's going to $5,000 or 0 or whatever the shit they give me, right? So I always say that those people are never there to comment with like, boy, you were so right, man. I should have bought it down there. Right? You were right. I never get that. I only get the shit. Making my point here. Channel down, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. All of a sudden, something changed. Change of character right in the middle. So in this, if you're looking, let's see, do I have it here? Yeah, if you're looking right here, right? If now I don't have this, right, because we don't have a close here. Here, well, if I get it right on there. Right, here's the 50% premium discount. So again, think in terms of, oh, I just had an impulse. What if I come back? Where am I looking for the 2? It starts at the 50. What happens at the 50? I go into discount. If I can buy in discount and sell in premium, I know, seems so easy. It's simple, right? And it's definitely not easy. It's never what I'm saying. Couldn't be any harder. But what we're trying to do is help you, just give you some different ways to think about it, right? So if you're not like, oh, fuck, this Elliott Wave is getting annoying. Shit, I wanted to call this a 4 and it overlapped by 2 ticks. Okay, if that annoys you, you know, you don't have to be locked to it. When it's there and it's helpful, great. If it's not there, just apply a little market structure. See if we can do the same thing in the ES. Well, here's, oh shit. I got a lot going on here. Let's do it up this way. Get these off here. And I'm going to take that down here. So here's a 1 hour. Here's a couple of good examples here. We're going wicks down here to this liquidity, and we have not broken it. Well, what do I got here? This is a 1 hour for today. Let's go to a 4 hour. All right. See if we can make sense of this. All right, so here, you see the two being combined a little bit. 1, 2. Excuse me. 1, 2. All these little breaks of structure leave behind. these demand zones here. So if we come down here, your buyer here, well, that could be inducement for this, right? Where are we? So this is where you start to combine them. Okay, wait a minute. I've got this here. Here's the deep retracement here. We'd be way past the discount here. We'd be way past it because the current range is from this swing to this swing, right? So here's, well, if I get it right on there. Here's the 50. Here's discount. Well, if this is correctly identified within this impulse, if this is correctly identified, did I say if? Right, where are we looking for that for? Right here. What's right there? Fair value gaps and the start of the discount and a low volume node here on this. We'd be right at the edge of where the value is. Excuse me. So right on the edge of value. So if we come down here for the 4, right, then again, right, you got to look at that and say, do I want to buy this? Oh, let's see if I pull it here. What would I have here? Right now, again, you wouldn't be pulling here from an Elliott count looking for your 4, but if I'm just using the strong low that did its job, that gave me that break of structure. Oh, okay. Well, I'm coming into the 50. Now I got an algo. Now I got a target. You see how they play together? I'm just using the swing low, right? I know there's demand here. What do you think is also here? Liquidity. What's here? Liquidity. Here, it draws it on the chart for you. That's the sonar laps. Right? Here's the liquidity. Again, I mean, if you're not sure where the liquidity is, here's this indicator spelling it out for you. Oh, dummy. Here's the liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. Buy side liquidity right here. Right. So again, making sure that you're not the liquidity is knowing where the liquidity is. Well, here's a tool that's going to do it for you. All right, I think we got that. Man, I don't think there's much else to add there. This, some new ideas, some new tools, new combos. If you want to learn how to do this, we can help you with that. Hey, jump in the belt system and get yourself started, right? We'll get into this stuff. I've got a lot of free, 20 videos right, on market structure here on our playlist. So if you want to do a little digging on SMC market structure, my God, there's going to be 500 Brits, 35-year-old Brits that are going to teach you SMC. My God, just go on YouTube. It's unbelievable how pervasive it is. Every one of them is making a fortune. Blah blah blah. I'm going to say, of course. Okay, there we go. I should wrap it because I got nothing else to add here. But there's a few things to consider. I hope that's helpful to you. I'll give you some new ideas. Okay, guys, I'm let's see. I'm out of town next Friday, so I won't be around to do a Friday vid, but I'll be back. I'm back on Saturday, so we'll be back to regular schedule. I may or may not be able to pull off the live stream. I'm gonna try and do it on Tuesday. Okay, guys, have a good one. We'll catch you next time.